Welcome back. Dollar bills, that's what we're going to be talking about this morning. A whole lot of them if you're filling up those cars at the pumps. Mike Eppel joining us now. Mike, you don't have to drive a whole lot because your drive to work is just, just walking down the stairs. That's all it is.
Well, look, we've been working from home for 2 years now, Melanie, and I have a feeling that when people are looking at the price we're paying at the pumps today, a whole lot of people are going to say, yeah, if I can work remotely, I don't necessarily need to do that commute right now. Because it's just too expensive, and it's going to get even worse. As I'm watching this morning, the price for oil, for example, if we're talking about pump prices specifically, oil is at its highest level since 2008. It's north of $113 per barrel on the U.S. trade, $120 in the U.K. And what happened after or later in 2008-09? Oh, that's right, a financial crisis. So, because there's a tipping point here where consumers say, can't afford it, and everything spirals then the other direction. The economy takes a massive hit. We're not there yet, but nevertheless, what do you do about, if anything, about rising gas prices at this point? Because this is a global issue. Traders are self-sanctioning. Buying any oil from Russia, even though Russia hasn't specifically been hit with sanctions on its energy market. So the global supply is much lower than it needs to be because, of course, demand has gone up substantially here in the past while. Do you cut taxes? Does that necessarily do all that much in the longer term? Short term, maybe. But it sounds like, the Ford government said, well, if the feds cut the gas tax on the carbon tax, we'll match that.
Yeah.
Right. And then, the NDP are calling for a regulated gas market, which is in effect in some provinces, but eventually you still have to pay. So it sort of just delays the pain. Mm-hmm. And then does this, of course, hasten the shift to, electric vehicles? Well, the problem with that is, sure, put solar panels on your roof, put in the batteries, get an electric car. Where are these vehicles that are magically going to be on the market for mass adoption?
Right.
It's not a simple solution. And then, of course, the cost of doing that. Who does this hurt the most? People, who have to drive for a living, and there are no short-term solutions, unfortunately.
Okay, so let's reiterate. It went 6 overnight for gas prices, expecting 8 tonight. So, I mean, yes. It looks high now, but if you got to fill up, fill up.
And Toronto's not, look, in Vancouver, they're paying $1.94.
I just saw one of our colleagues out in Vancouver that tweeted something in Metro Vancouver. Yeah, it's wild. But because of this, this is driving up pricing across the board. Right.
Transportation costs for everything will be rippling through the consumer market. And it's not just oil. It's expensive. Wheat is trading at a 14-year high today. Base metals are at multi-year highs. A lot of those come from Russia. Look, a lot of steel products in the global market out of the Russian economy. Copper prices are up. Everything's going up. So this is just the tip of the inflation iceberg, unfortunately.
Mike, let's stay with the trend of how expensive it is. Toronto Real Estate Board releasing some numbers here, year over year. What did you see?
Springtime market come early as the February sales top 10,500. That's the highest in almost a year for sales. Prices up around $1.3 million on average. 28% increase year over year. And the Bank of Canada raised interest rates yesterday, Melanie, by 0.25%.
Yeah.
That's going to take, they're going to have to, as one economist, David Rosenberg, said, they're going to have to kill the economy just to slow down inflation by raising rates multiple times, because one rate hike doesn't do much.
No.
It takes several.
It'll take some catch up for sure.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what we're talking about. It'll be multiple. Again, the Bank of Canada did say, look, there's war in Ukraine right now. So they're not necessarily saying that's significant. It might change the balance here going forward, but nevertheless, in the short term at least, and trends are higher borrowing costs.
Mike, I got about 30 seconds left with you, but a big deal announced yesterday, and Tammy Sutherland is actually standing by live at the airport. She says it's busier than she's seen in a couple years. A lot of more people flying.
This is not a surprise, and even if the price for gas goes up, people are going to drive because, again, it's like, I want to go someplace regardless. WestJet wants to buy Sunwing, very popular travel company. These are two privately held companies now. WestJet's owned by Onyx, and they're not saying what the price is. And does this deal get Competition Bureau blowback from Ottawa? because it would be taking and consolidating the airline industry. We'll see.
Yeah, and will they be kind of operating separately somehow, like sort of like a discounted line?
Or does WestJet
versus...
swing it into Swoop,
yeah.
the discount brand? I don't know.
Okay.
Not sure.
All right, Mike, as always, a pleasure. We'll talk to you tomorrow, Friday.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks.